we have got a question for Julian Hall from English Muffin in the chat room, and it was, what has been the toughest and the most challenging situation you have faced, Julian Hall?
All right, so there's probably two things. We set up our business not long before the recession hit. So, you know, we had to kind of redefine what it is that we were doing. And our mantra at the time was simply, if you want more, you need to give more, which became one of the sayings in the book. And essentially, what we realized was, in the time of the recession and the economic downturn, it would appear that there was less of everything available, right? So being that's the case, we decided to do the opposite. We decided to give more. We decided to give more to our clients, give more time, give more service, give more, you know, give more ideas. Because we realized that in helping our clients to grow and to succeed, it meant that directly we would grow and succeed. If our clients couldn't afford to pay us, we wouldn't charge them until they could. Not forever, normally just a couple of months. But the idea was that we weren't concerned necessarily about being paid our fees next month. We were worried about being paid our fees in the next year and year after that. So we had to take a long-term view, which was challenging because, you know, we had to, you know, pay office rent, pay staff, pay expenses and all this kind of stuff. But what you find is that if you can think creatively, speak to people, be transparent, negotiate with all of the stakeholders within your business, that it turned out that, you know, everybody was pretty much in the same situation, and everybody realized that, you know what, we pretty much have to kind of work together to get through this. And I think, to be honest, one thing that I admired about the British economy and the British small business in the time of the recent recession, it was obvious that they weren't going to take it lying down, that, okay, the recession's here, but we're not going to give up without a fight. And kind of collaborating with other small businesses with that same ideal and that same concept helped us to ride the recession. In fact, what happened was, it ended up being our best year, to kind of 2008 and 2009. But the challenge was to think differently. So, you know, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So we didn't want to use old solutions to tackle new problems. That's madness. We had to, what was kind of exciting at the same time was the fact that, okay, we are faced with problems that we've never faced before. So what that called upon was for us to come up with new solutions that we'd never thought of or applied before. In fact, maybe no one in our sector had applied before. But we used that kind of that spirit of innovation and that spirit of being different and doing things differently, and that stayed within the DNA of our business and of what I do going forward. So whenever I see a challenge or a problem, I just need some kind of space, some time just to think around it. When people say, you know, you see this impossible is nothing, you know, people use it and it's kind of like just throwaway statements. But I'm not sure that people actually really truly believe that, you know, because the smallest challenges in life, and you feel and you see people buckle and you know, they give up. Oh, what happened? Oh, it almost appears that so many things are just not insurmountable when really they are. But that said, probably the biggest challenge that I faced in my business, and it's the biggest challenge that most entrepreneurs face, is themselves. You find that when you, at various stages of your growth as an entrepreneur, as a person, as a business, or whatever it is, it's difficult to control external factors. Yeah, it's difficult. It's very difficult. But it's easy. It's easier. The only thing, not so much easier, but what you are in control of is yourself. Yeah, and you find that if you hone yourself to be a more powerful tool, a more useful person, a more valued member of your community, business or otherwise, that growth and that investment that you put into yourself will almost overcome the external challenges that you can't control. right? So it's almost looking, okay, well, you know, you're looking at the situation, what can I affect, what can't I affect? I can't affect the external things, I can't affect the economy, I can't affect who's coming into power, I can't affect whether there's a recession tomorrow morning, I can't affect house prices, I can't affect the stock market, but I can affect what it is that I do, right? And, you know, I mean, again, you know, it's a little bit played, but, you know, if you look at Obama, he came into power in probably the worst time in American history, economically and with so many different things. But he's a brilliant example as to what can happen. And I remember, you know, because for years I've heard, you know, excuses upon excuses as to why people can't do things. And when Obama came into power, I put out a message on Facebook saying, what's everybody's excuse now? You know, a black man's the most powerful person in the world. What's your excuse for not accomplishing whatever it is that you want to accomplish, right? And oftentimes that comes from you. It comes from you as a person. So the challenges that we think oftentimes prevent us from going from strength to strength isn't society, it's not the banks, it's not the man, it's a lot of the times it's actually yourself. And whether it's the belief in what you think you can achieve, what you think you're worth, whether you think you should get that big contract, whether you think you should, you know, you're worthy of charging that fee. All of these kind of self-limiting beliefs do have a place in why and how people are able to get to where they do and, you know, attain the goals and achieve the things that they do in their lives and as entrepreneurs.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, I'm receiving that, you know, limited way of thinking, most definitely. And what I've learnt myself in my own journey is, you know, we're responsible for ourselves. And, you know, you can do so much to improve yourself, and you should not be of the opinion that it's wasted time, isn't it? Because you're invested in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what I've tried to do is, because, you know, we as a people, we're good talkers. We talk a good one, right? God, yeah, we talk a good one. And what I've tried to do is, believe it or not, I've tried to do more in what I've actually produced than what I actually say. You know, I'm more of an action man than a speaking man, even though that's what I do as part of my day-to-day work. But you know, I've made a point of actioning what I do, so that when I do say something, the majority of the things that I say are grounded by something that I've done. It's not rhetoric. It's not what I'm thinking. It's not or something that somebody within my network has done, something that I can reference as an actual fact. Because, as I said, I just think there's just too much talk. There's too much. There's too many words flying around. Too much rhetoric. Too much of this, and I just think that it's almost used as a smokescreen, you know, to make ourselves feel good. Or, but at some point, instead of feeling good, you've got to do good. You've got to do better. You've got to be excellent. You've got to actually implement the things that you say and do. And again, in one of the sayings in my book is, today reputation is everything. Do what you say and say what you do. There are too many people who will overpromise and underdeliver. And it's one of the things that I made sure I did the opposite of, which was to underpromise and overdeliver. You do that, people evangelize you, they recommend you, they talk about you all day, they'll come back to you and all this kind of stuff. So it's just simple ideas, but the most important thing is to actually do something about it. Put them into action, you know, make it real, make it happen. Tangible, you know, instead of the long talking. That it really is a huge bugbear of mine.
Wow, do you know what? I like this man, you know. He's an action man, you know. We at Nubia, we're action people. You know, I like what he said. It's so true. There's so much talk out there. So much talk, and we need to produce the action with the talk, or just stop talking. We see you after this. Now, you know what? All of you don't know this, but I'm just going to tell you. Do you know what? I'm pushing harder. You know, this time last year I was on suicide watch, This time last year I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. I was diagnosed with depression. I was diagnosed with chronic insomnia. And you know what? I'm still here. You understand me? I push hard. You know, we're joined here by Julian Hall, and he's saying that, you know what, it's time for us to stop the talking, produce something tangible, and we're talking about being an entrepreneur. And what being an entrepreneur means in this time, this recession time, it's a brilliant time to be an entrepreneur, says Julian Hall.